There is the start list. It will be Adela Balkova of Slovakia who kicks us off. Andrea Preda, we saw her in action yesterday on the uneven bars. Tina Zalcic will be next up, and then Lucy Hanna. They are the first four athletes. And of course we'll have a brief break before the next four get warmed up. But here come the competitors, led in by Balkova.
Representing Slovakia, Adela Balkova. Representing Romania, Andrea Preda. Representing Croatia, Tina Zalcic. Representing France, Lucy Hanna. Representing Ukraine, Diana Lava. Representing Iceland, Delma Andersteindottir. Representing South Africa, Caitlin Rookstrand. Representing Great Britain, Ruby Evans.
2 minutes warm-up for the first four athletes.
That's the introductions complete. Some very familiar faces in this final. We have the likes of Tina Zalcic. She's always in contention for podium places whenever she makes a beam final. We have Ruby Evans. We see her often competing on the floor, but she's pretty handy on the beam as well. In terms of the qualification, it was Andrea Preda of Romania who qualified in first position. That's not necessarily a sign as to how things are going to pan out in the final. It's a case of translating that form from qualifying into the final, which is easier said than done. Well, we don't have last year's champion here. That was Bettina Lili Cifra of Hungary. Tina Zalcic, though, the silver medalist from last year, makes a reappearance here this year. Can she go on better?
Warm-up is over. Good luck.
Adela Balkova, the 18-year-old from Bratislava, gets this beam final underway. This is the first World Challenge Cup we've seen her in this year. Not seen her in action at this level since the competition in Szombathely in Hungary. She didn't make a final there. She was competing in both the beam and the bars, but didn't actually get past qualification. So this is a big improvement for the 18-year-old. She tends to focus on beam and on bars. Great strength and balance. Fluidly through these movements and combinations. It's been an assured performance so far from the Slovakian. And she sticks the dismount. Nicely done, indeed. She was 8th best in qualification with a 12.6. This routine is worth a 4.5 in terms of difficulty. So on the lower end of the scale, but she will be looking to make up those points in the execution. Will she better her score of 12.6? Certainly enjoying her experience in her first ever World Challenge Cup final. .866. That's the highest score that she achieved in qualifying. So I'm sure she will be very pleased with that one indeed. Andrea Preda appearing in her second final of the weekend, 6th yesterday on the uneven bars. She was the best in qualification with a 13.250. This is worth a 5.3 in terms of difficulty. For the execution, she will be penalised for coming off there. That is a shame for the Romanian. Well, it is the second most difficult beam routine that we will be seeing in this final. And often the higher the difficulty, the lower the execution. It's a really tricky toss-up when considering the routine choreography. Do you go for the high difficulty scores and let the execution slip, or do you go for low difficulty but really nail the execution? It's a very tricky balancing act. Pun not intended. Andrea Preda of Romania. First in qualification with a 13.250. She won't be getting anywhere near that score after coming off the beam twice. Disappointing performance in the final for her. Nevertheless, though, she has made 2 finals over the course of this weekend, which is a good achievement in itself. makes her way across to the waiting area. She cuts a dejected figure, doesn't she? She would have been hopeful of getting a medal in this final, given how well she performed in qualification. But today just hasn't been her day, unfortunately.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing Croatia, Tina Zelčić.
Tina Zelčić, last year's silver medalist. The 21-year-old from Zagreb. It's always a feature in these finals. Another one down. We saw her competing at World Cups earlier this year in Doha. She finished 4th on the beam, just missing out on the podium. She was also in Baku as well. She didn't actually make the final there, so this is an improvement for Tina Zelčić. Didn't make the final in Cottbus either, or in Cairo. So this is her second final of the year in terms of World Cup or World Challenge Cup level, but yet to make the podium this year. She was 4th in qualification with a 12.850. Difficulty rating of 4.8, so lower down on the difficulty scale, but the execution is where she made up the points. Nice tidy landing from Zelčić of Croatia. I suspect that neither she nor Preda, the two gymnasts who you'd have expected to have been in contention for the podium spots, you suspect that it might look like a very different podium to the one that we would have anticipated. Tina Zelčić with the wobble following the mount, and then she came off as well partway through that routine. There we go, let's another look at it. Well, that is a very disappointing score indeed for Tina Zelčić, and it is only Anna Balkova who's managed to stay on the beam so far. Let's see if Lucy Henner can be the second one to do so, the 19-year-old from France. 6th in qualifying with a 12.750. This is worth a 5.1 in terms of the difficulty. Slight wobble, but recovered well. Transitioning well throughout the elements. Yes, well done indeed. Manages to stay on where Preda didn't. nails the landing as well. That was an assured performance from the French
2
athlete.
minutes warm up for the next 4
Nicely done
athletes.
indeed. Safely through the elements, gracefully done. She gets a big congratulations from the coach as well. The qualification score was a 12.750. It'll be fascinating to see whether the judges award a higher mark to her than that. .066. She's upped her difficulty from qualifying, and she scored well in execution as well, and that score gets her to the top of the standings. At the moment, we've reached the midway point. 4 athletes have gone and 4 athletes still to come. Caitlin Rooskrantz of South Africa there. And Lucy Henner, judging by the qualification scores, wouldn't have expected to be towards the top of the standings, but the final has opened up because of Preda and Zelčic's falls from the apparatus. Still early days though, we are only at the midway point with 4 still to go. It is turning into a pretty intriguing final nonetheless. Next up will be Diana Lobok of Ukraine. That country very well represented indeed here this weekend.
Warm up is over. Good luck.
Diana Lobok of Ukraine, just 15 years of age.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing
From Kiev.
Ukraine, Diana Lobok.
She was competing in the juniors last year. She competed at the World Junior Championships in Antalya. She's now made the transition to the seniors. This is her first ever World Challenge Cup. We saw her at the World Cups in Baku, Cottbus and in Cairo. And this is her first ever final. Big moment indeed for the 15-year-old. She did very well indeed in qualification. Second highest qualifier with a 13.150. The most difficult beam routine of all 8 finalists. This difficulty rating is 5.7. Oh, what a performance from Diana Lobok of Ukraine, the second best in qualification. I'm sure we'll be hopeful of a podium finish in her first ever World Challenge Cup, her first ever final at senior level as well. Of course, we've got many established gymnasts competing here over the course of the day and over the course of yesterday as well, but there are these youngsters who we need to make note of. We need to remember these names, because I'm sure we will see them popping up in the next Olympic Games, not in Paris, of course, this summer, but in Los Angeles in 2028, which will come around very quickly indeed. Dana Lobok, 15 at the minute. She'll be 19 by the time she's eligible for the next Olympic Games. And she certainly has a very bright future ahead of her indeed. An assured, confident performance on the beam. .033, not quite enough to knock Lucy Henner off the top spot, but it is very, very close. She is in the silver medal position as things stand, and that is very impressive indeed from the Ukrainian. Iceland's Thelma Aldansdóttir is next up, third best in qualification with a 13.00. She specialises mainly on the uneven bars, so it's good to see her in this beam final. She's the Icelandic champion 2022 and 2023, and the 2023 Northern European champion on the uneven bars. Well recovered there. This isn't her specialist apparatus. Third one to come off the apparatus so far this afternoon. This is the first time we're seeing her competing in Varna. She's not necessarily been a regular at these World Challenge Cups or World Cups indeed. She is a back-to-back Nordic champion on balance beam in 2022 and 2023. Well, the landing is good, but disappointing for Thelma Aldansdóttir of Iceland. Another one who came off the apparatus at the midway point of the routine. One of the older finalists here, 23 years of age, from Reykjavik. Well, she was third in qualifying, but I'm not sure that we will see the qualifying score replicated in the final standings. I don't quite think that will translate to a podium place. Well, she has seen her score on the electronic scoreboard in the arena, but she must wait until it is made official. She's keen to get going. 10.166. I think that is what we would have expected. That puts her in the 6th position at the moment. Well, Caitlin Rooskrantz of South Africa is an incredibly decorated gymnast. She has competed at Commonwealth Games, an even bars bronze medalist from the last Commonwealth Games. She tends to be a bars specialist rather than beam, but she has had success internationally on this apparatus. Two-time uneven bars gold medalist in the FIG World Cup Series. And she is a face that we will be seeing in Paris at the forthcoming Olympic Games. She was 2nd earlier this year in the South African Championships in the all-around. Took gold on the bars and beam and silver on the floor. She has already competed, of course, at Olympic level. She was in Tokyo. And that was a very solid routine indeed on the gym for the South African Caitlin Rooskrantz. She finished 7th in qualifying with a 12.7, difficulty level of 4.9, but you suspect that given that 3 of the gymnasts so far have actually come off the beam, that she should be there or thereabouts in terms of the podium spots. But with Ruby Evans to come, you suspect that she will challenge as well for the medals. If she is to make it onto the podium, she needs higher than a 12.866 as things stand. Rooskrantz looking really relaxed as she awaits the judge's verdict. Will she have got a podium spot? She needs higher than a 12.866. .3, just missing out on that top 3. Ruby Evans next up. The 17-year-old from Cardiff is a familiar face at World Cups and World Challenge Cups. 5th in qualifying with a 12.8. She was part of the silver medal winning team in the European Championships in Rimini in Italy earlier this year. She became eligible last year for senior level competition. Since then, has been a pretty frequent fixture in finals in World Cup and World Challenge Cup events. started this year at the Welsh Championships and finished first in the all-round, the vault, the bars and the floor. She competed as a guest at the English Championships, where she won gold on the floor and got silver on the beam. That was a very solid routine from Ruby Evans. Well, it's been a very low-scoring beam final because of those three gymnasts who've come off the apparatus, which means it is wide open in terms of the podium spots. It's currently Lucy Henner of France who is top of the standings, edging Diana Lobok into second, and Adela Balkova is in third with a 12.866. So that's what Ruby Evans needs to beat if she is to claim a medal. .866, the exact same score as Adela Balkova. So we will have two bronze medalists. That is how the final looks. Confirmation then of the results, and just look how close it is.
Third place and bronze medal, representing Great Britain, Ruby Evans.
Ruby Evans collects another medal at World Challenge Cup level, 12.866, the same score as Adela Balkova, who steps up onto the podium as well. Slovakia and Great Britain sharing the bronze.
Second place and silver medal, representing Ukraine, Diana Lobok.
Diana Lobok of Ukraine, the 15-year-old, is a name to remember.
First place and gold medal, representing France, Lucy Henner.
And Lucy Henner, the French gymnast, taking the gold, but it was tight at the top, 13.066 and 13.033. Very closely fought final indeed. But it is France edging Ukraine for that gold medal.
Director of Talks and Culture and Sport, Miko Christoph.
Второ място награждава изпълнителния директор на Дворец на културата и спорта Минко Христов.
And first place awards, Ilya Koev, Deputy Mayor of City of Varna.
Първо място награждава заместник кмета на град Варна Илия Коев.
Medals and goodie bags dished out. We'll have the winners' photos and then, of course, the French national anthem. Very special moment indeed for all of these athletes.
Please rise up for the national anthem of France.
That is the start list for the final women's event of the weekend. It will be Ruby Evans who gets us underway on the floor. I'm sure she will be confident of a medal. She's already picked up a bronze on the beam, and this is her specialist area. The floor is where she really excels, so she will be first to compete. The athletes will shortly make their way out into the arena.
А сега, дами и господа, нека с бурни аплодисменти посрещнем треньорите и състезателите в днешния финал на земна гимнастика за жени.
Representing Great Britain, Ruby Evans. Representing South Africa, Calais Anders. Representing Iceland, Hildur Gudmundsdottir. Representing Germany, Leah Quas. Representing France, Lucy Henna. Representing Germany, Karina Schonmeier. Representing France, Aline Fries. Representing Iceland, Delma Addersteinsdottir.
2-minute warm-up for the first 4 athletes.
Well, the athletes have been introduced, and as you may have heard there will be a 2-minute warm-up before the competition gets underway. Some familiar faces in the lineup. Of course, some of these athletes competing here this weekend have qualified for more than one final. Well, just an incredible achievement to qualify for one final, let alone multiple. The likes of Ruby Evans, Lucy Henna. I've already seen them competing today. It's not unusual to see these gymnasts going from one final to the next, but of course, because the men's and women's events alternate, there is plenty of time to rest and recover and refocus ahead of the next one. Of course, on the floor we are looking for how the gymnast lands her tumbling passes. Landing deductions, of course, bad landings will elicit deductions. We're looking for good form in the air. We want straight legs, pointed toes in the tumbling. Bent legs are a no-no. And we're looking for great amplitude on leaps and on jumps. Gymnast is supposed to hit a 180-degree split on leap elements, so that's something else we need to look out for. In terms of turns, the gymnast of course has to fully complete every turn in order to get full credit. Some gymnasts tend to fall out of their turns. Well, Ruby Evans, the teenager from Cardiff, was the best qualifier with a 13.5. She possesses the most difficult routine with a 5.4.
Warm-up is over, good luck.
She is a floor specialist and will be hopeful of success.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, representing Great Britain, Ruby Evans.
Wonderful performance from Ruby Evans to get this women's floor final underway. And who doesn't love a bit of Britney? It was confident, it was upbeat, it was high energy. Tumbling passes were impressive, great height in the air, good form in the air. She certainly enjoyed competing out there on the floor. I'm sure that those of you at home enjoyed watching it as well. It was a solid, assured, confident and dynamic performance from the Welsh teenager to get us underway here. .33 for Ruby Evans.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing South Africa, Clyde Anders.
This is Katie Anders of South Africa. She finished 6th in qualifying, the 12.740. Kaylee Anders of South Africa, elegant and composed. Two very contrasting routines indeed. Anders was named Women's Artistic Gymnastics Junior Gymnast of the Year for 2022, and she has successfully made that transition into the seniors. A 12.6
Representing Iceland,
for the South African. Just down on her qualification. This is Iceland's Hilda Gudmundsdottir. Hilda Gudmundsdottir finished second in qualifying. 13.050 behind Ruby Evans. Well, it was a solid routine, wasn't it? Consistent. Well executed tempo passes. Currently, the highest score is 13.3. Hilda Gudmundsdottir is quite a way off that and way down from her qualifying score as well. Germany's Leah Kass. Well, a dramatic routine from Germany's Leah Kass. Just that foot out of bounds on the last tumbling pass.
2-minute warm-up for the
Let her
next
down.
4 athletes.
She was third in qualifying with a 13.0. And Hilda Gudmundsdottir was 8th in qualifying, not second, as I earlier said. My apologies for that, but that was Germany's Leah Kass, who was the fourth to go on the floor. And of course now we'll have a break before the next 4 get underway. German was third in qualifying, but she will be penalised for the foot out of bounds on the last tumbling pass. She got a 13 in qualification with a difficulty rating of 5.1, the second most difficult of these floor routines. One of 2 German athletes in this floor final. Karina Schönmeier still to come. 12.6. Disappointing score. Well, next up on the floor, it is France's Lucy
Warm-up is over. Good
fresh from
luck.
her victory on the beam not so long ago. Can she translate
Ladies
that to
and
victory
gentlemen,
on the floor? She
representing
was
France,
5th in
Lucy
qualifying with a
Hanna.
12.8. Well, another composed, assured performance from the young athlete from France. The French are on a roll at the moment. 3 medals to show for their efforts for today. 3 events, 3 medals. Can Lucy Hanna make it 4 from 4? She will be feeling confident after that gold on the beam. 0.566 for Luciana, disappointingly down
Schönmeier.
on her qualification score. Corinna Schönmeier of Germany. Corinna Schönmeier, the second German to go on this floor final. That foot out of bounds. We'll see the execution penalised for this one. She was 7th in qualifying with a 12.750. Well, she recovered well from that opening tumbling pass where she was out of bounds, but that will cost her. Corinna Schönmeier picked up a silver medal on the vault yesterday, behind Valentina Georgieva. And that is a good score. It's up on her qualification score. And as it stands, it gets her into the silver medal position. Aline Fries of France will be hoping to impress the national selectors. Aline Fries of France, 4th best in qualification. She's been part of the French national team setup for quite a while. She's 20 years old now, but she's been with the French team since the 2019 World Championships. Competed at the 2020 Summer Olympics as well. And was part of the French team setup at the 2022 World Championships as well. .033 for the French gymnast. She's up on her qualification score. And last to go, Thelma Adalstein-Dottir of Iceland. Can she recover from the disappointment of coming off the beam earlier? She was second in qualifying for this. Dramatic performance from Thelma Adalstein-Dottir rounds off the women's floor final. Second best in qualifying. She had a disappointing performance on the beam earlier, but that was much more positive from the 23-year-old. Well, there will be no medal for Adalstein-Dottir. Ruby Evans, the first competitor, you can see that she is being congratulated by her team. Kashi has got the gold here from the floor final. She went first, and it was a case of, not a case of saving the best till last. It was Ruby Evans who set the standard, and she was never caught. 13.3 was her mark for her floor routine, and she picks up a second medal of the day. There is confirmation of the standings then. Ruby Evans takes the gold for Britain. Aline Fries with another medal for France. And Karina Schoenmeier makes up the podium. She takes home a second medal for the weekend. She got that silver yesterday on vault, and she gets another one here on the floor. And France, what a day they've been having. They've got a medal in every event so far today, as has Ruby Evans in behind her.
Third place and bronze medal, representing Germany, Karina Schoenmeier.
A bronze on the floor and a silver on the vault for Karina Schoenmeier this weekend.
Second place and silver medal, representing France, Aline Fries.
Aline Fries with the silver for France. Second silver for France today overall. Fourth medal in total for the day. And a second medal of the day for Ruby Evans, following the bronze she got on the beam earlier. She now adds a gold to the collection for her efforts on the floor.
Second place awards, FIG Technical Delegate Helena Lario. And first place awards, President of Bulgarian Technical Committee for Women, Светлана Добрева. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise up for the national anthem of Great Britain.
Huge congratulations as ever to all of the medalists.